All right, we got the record working. This is Quentin Conway coming at you live from Kansas City. I'm going to have you guys introduce you one more time since I did that before I started recording. We'll start down in Texas. Kenny or Anthony, you shoot first and just tell us your name and tell us where you're at again. Go ahead.
All right, Anthony Keeneland here from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Fort Worth. Well, I've been drinking too much. Cornbread, Fort Worth. Shoot, sorry.
It's all right. Who else we got?
We got Ray Hartman down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Chris Moore, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Ken Mahako, Crane, Wisconsin.
Drew Mahar, Moorhead, Minnesota.
George Soria,
right,
Kansas City,
welcome.
Missouri.
Rock on, George. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there, bro.
No,
all right,
cool.
so I just want to give a couple reminders to everybody out there in Listen Land. Open format here, and here's how we're going to play this game. I want you to text me, and my phone number is 816-582-9216. Text me some questions as we go through this panel. We're going to do a Q&A answer format. You can also private message me via Facebook. So hop on Facebook and just shoot me a message, and we will get your questions answered. We'll try to get them all answered. Just depends on how many we got come through. And what I'm going to do is kind of act as a moderator just to kind of keep things going and divide it up. We've got a very diverse group of fellows on here, and what we want to try to do is get everybody's question and everybody's input from all different perspectives on what we got going as a man in It Works. But first and foremost, what we need to get under our belts is the notion that when we're down there at conference this year, we got to get this going. Cave. It's a grunt call. So we all know. So when you're being tooled around with your wives and you're getting introduced to a husband or a significant other, you got to give him the grunt call. Cave. And if you get a grunt back, you know he's a caver. So we're good, right? All right, so I'm going to start it out. I've got a couple questions that people have shot me already. And I'm going to start this one. I'm going to target on this question specifically Ray and Chris. I'm going to ask this question to you all because the question was posed to me, what's a typical day in the life of an ambassador like? So we've got a very diverse group of guys on here. That was one of the questions that was posed. So shoot, what's a typical day in the life of an ambassador diamond in It Works as a dude?
Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Well, first of all, there are no typical days in the life of a networker. So every day really is completely different. We definitely get up every morning, get the kids off to school, and then we usually sit down and work for a few hours. We usually spend the early part of the morning on the computer, returning phone calls, returning emails, follow up with any blitzing or anything like that we've done. Then we'll usually take a break midday. The afternoon usually we'll usually split up. Either I'm with the kids and Nikki will go out and she'll do some blitzing or meet with some prospects, or vice versa. We'll do the same. And then a lot of our evenings are kind of split up as well, where one of us is either out doing something or the other one's with the kids. So, and really every day is completely different, and it just depends on what we got going in a particular day or week.
Yep, good stuff. On my side, not a whole lot different than that. It's different every day. I will say that coming out of corporate America, I personally try to structure a little bit around, I'm going to do this on Tuesday, I'm going to do this on Friday, whether it be tracking cabs or, whatever it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Get up. Rhonda's busy as hell and doing all the personal stuff. I tend to do the back office stuff, and that's it. Day by day, it's the same stuff. It just bounces around depending on which day it is.
Sounds good. It's all different. There's no doubt about that. I like what Chris said. There's no typical day, and there's no doubt about that. There is never a typical day because something is different each and every day that we've got going on here. So, all right, guys, so here's going to be the money question. And I'm going to start with Anthony on this because I like some of his videos. They crack me up. And there's a lot of variances of this question. So I'm going to start with a simple version, and I'm going to let you run with it, but I'm going to hone in on some more defined versions of it a little bit later. But how do you blitz as a dude in It Works? Anthony, you're up.
All right, so how do you blitz as a dude and It Works? Well, if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that it's ridiculously easy. It's so easy, in fact, that a 2-year-old little girl can do it. So if you're a man in this company and you are not blitzing, just know that my 2-year-old little girl is more manly than you are. So,
especially at the mall.
Yeah, at the mall. It's really easy, man. You just, the biggest thing as a man and it works is that I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I came into the game kind of late. When I came in, my wife was already a double diamond. She'd been doing this for a few months. I didn't really know what was going on, but I wanted to get involved. And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? And blitzing was one of those things that was like she just hated doing. And I was like, well, give me a blitz card. I'll go give it to somebody. And it just kind of went from there. For me, I was never afraid of being told no because I didn't really have anything invested in the company. A lot of our wives, they, blood, sweat, and tears go into this. And when someone tells them no, they take it very personally. And for me, if somebody told me no, I was like, okay, whatever, I'll go find somebody else. So it just kind of went from there, and I just took the blitz cards, and I'd walk up to people, and sometimes I'd say, something along the lines of, here's a coupon, or, this is for you, or whatever. It started off that way, and then eventually, I'd take it one step farther, and I'd actually try and, tell them what was actually on the card. This is what we sell, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes I don't even say anything. If I feel like somebody's in a hurry or they don't want to talk, I just give them a card, let them go. And, it's not guaranteed that they're going to call me back, but at least they have the information. So blitzing as a man and it works is something that I think every husband should be doing because we are in that unique position where, we should be in that unique position where our feelings don't get hurt that easily when someone tells us no. So for me, it's been one of the things I pride myself on is blitzing because a lot of ladies they don't like to get told no because they take it very personally, and I just don't care. So.
Well, and I think too, I'm going to add to this. I think that people like to try to define blitzing as some specialized event. Like I have to schedule it, and I have to set it up, and I have to make it this big ordeal that I'm actually going to dedicate my chunk of time to going out there and doing something I'm calling blitz. We challenge our people and we teach our people, whether they're male or female, the same way, bro. You got to live the blitz. Your life is a blitz. You are always looking for opportunities to drop nuggets in conversation. So blitzing isn't just about handing out a card. It's about wearing stupid bracelets or wearing a green shirt or anytime you're out there with your fellas, man, dropping seeds, planting seeds all the time. So, because you never know when those plants are going to start sprouting out of those seeds. I mean, that's the number one way guys communicate with each other is digging at each other. That's how we do it, fellas, And so I'm always looking at opportunities for my guys to dig on me. And when they dig on me, that gives me my chance to blitz. And all blitz is living your business, talking about your business. Drew, what do you do up in the cold and tundra up there? What do you do to blitz, man?
Well, I just kind of worked on developing, just like what I was going to say was my big deal. So I just, you do it here and there and you kind of trip over your words, after a while. But as you do it more and more, you kind of form, just the wording that you're going to use, and it becomes more comfortable the more you do it. But since my wife has, started this business as well, and she retired me from corporate America in October, I've been able to go in and just talk about, that. Like, I've encouraged our team to, even if you're not comfortable blitzing, just start working on developing conversations with people. Like if you're going to the store, if you're not comfortable yet giving out a blitz card, just work on that. Hey, you're working at the grocery store. How's it going here? Is this your lifelong dream? Or, how's, Walmart treating you or wherever it is, this sucks or blah, blah, blah. And then that gives you an entryway right away to kind of say, oh, really? Well, my wife's doing this business. She's retired me from my day job. And the only circumstance she said is I have to give her this coupon for a blitz card or this blitz card to everybody I come in contact with. And then, just kind of go from there. So a lot of people hate their job, or it's just a quote-unquote job. So if you just kind of start trying to connect with people without even purposely trying to blitz them, I think you get used to just talking to people and uncovering a need, and then the blitzing is just, you just like fall right into it. So that's kind of what I do, and I just think the more you do it, the easier it gets.
I agree with that 100%. You've got to build a routine, get yourself trained for it. Kenny, you've got kind of a unique situation. You live in a more rural setting, I think. What do you do to blow up a blitz, bro? I mean, how do you pull that off?
For myself, I haven't blitzed a whole lot. I mean, I do when we travel, when we're in airports and stuff like that. We do travel a lot as a family, and I try to work it in that way. My biggest thing is I've tried to make myself a better person by using the products, strength training and things like that, and which ends up in a lot of people asking me, what are you doing, and I just say, it's simple, 30 minutes of exercise, and I take these pills, just like any other diet plan. Everything has healthy eating and exercise, We at least have fat players to where you can, not have to eat healthy all the time, so we kind of have a step above there. So that's kind of my way of blitzing, is just turning myself into a blitz card, and that seems to be the biggest thing that I've done. And I patrol a lot of Facebook groups and pages, introducing myself, getting them over to my page. I have my own fitness page or my own fitness group to where I add all my potential clients into, and then I just tell everybody what I'm doing from day to day. Everybody helps each other out. I guess that's my way of blitzing. I live in a town
you're living it. You're living the blitz.
Right. I live in a town of 2,000 people. The closest town, big city to me is Green Bay. It's 2.5 hours away. So my everyday blitzing just doesn't work out so well for me. But I try to fit it in when I can, traveling and that.
Yeah,
so.
Right on, George. Hey, let me ask you this, bro. I know that you're rocking this mostly solo. Single dude, sexy as all get out. How do you rock the blitz? How do you rock the blitz as a single dude? And I'm gonna hone this question differently. How do you rock a blitz to as a single dude to women without insulting them? That's a question we get all the time. Like, how do you talk to women? How do you blitz women without offending them or insulting them?
I really just I said I live the blitz. I mean, I went to your guys' training up in Omaha and just listening to you guys talk. And from that time on, I just started. I always had the blitz cards with me, but, wear the green, wear the shirts, wear something, just something to get their attention. As far as approaching women without offending them, I mean, it all just starts with conversation. I mean, I talk to a lot of people. I'm pretty friendly. People tend to like me. And, I don't say, hey, check this out. I got something that you need. It's just whether I hear them talking about, their weight loss or hating their job, whatever the situation may be, I kind of fill them out and just kind of get into conversation from there. So, I mean, perfect example. Go ahead.
No, keep rolling. Go.
No, I said Friday we were down at a Pork and Brew and sitting there eating with some friends, and the waitress, sitting there telling us about her, been doing this for so many years, always working, making people money and this and that. She kind of complained about her job. And we're like, well, and we were talking to our friends, they're loyal customers. And they were sitting there eating with us, and we're like, hey, I go, we got something, an opportunity for you, And she's like, what? And we're like, have you ever heard of It Works, And she's like, no. Started telling her a little bit about it. I was like, told April, I was like, hey, I go, put a wrap on her. And she's like, huh? And we're like, you got saran wraps in here? She's like, yeah. Went and put it on her, and she loved it. And she started going around showing other customers. She's like, I can sell this. And we're like, hey. So we met with her again 2 nights ago, and she wants to become a distributor now. So.
Rock on. See, it's amazing what happens when you just open your mouth, isn't it? Start talking about the product. We tell people and we teach them, we have got like the trifecta working right now, man. We've got a product that works. We have a business model that works. and we have a timing situation that works. It's like the trifecta, bro. I mean, we have a vein society for a vein product, and all you've got to do is be willing to talk about that thing. Everything else falls into place after that. You've got to get raps on people, and the only way to get raps on people is to talk about your product, talk about your business. So I'll let anyone else who wants to close this out. You know, the question is a lot, and it's an important question because I think guys struggle with this. For me, it's easy. So because I don't have a problem talking, and I don't worry, going back to what Anthony said, I don't really worry about people getting upset about what I'm saying. I just move on to the next one. And so that's a strong red in me. You all know that. And so, but sometimes you got to slow down and be cognizant of what you're doing. How is it? What are those keys to talking to women when you're a guy that you're not offending them? Anyone else have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I got a little bit on the psychological side. If you see a woman walking through Walmart, right, she's buying diapers, baby food, so on and so forth. She doesn't have the nicest of clothes. Her hair's not all done up and ready to go. And you look at her left hand, she ain't got a ring on. More than likely, she's single, or she's got some bonehead that knocked her up, and they're just kind of hanging out, right? Perfect business opportunity. Pay attention to what I'm getting at is pay attention to what they're wearing, how they're acting, the way they're moving through the store. I mean, it's you don't have to hit every one of them that are in a pencil skirt and a V-cut shirt. Make sense?
We teach our people. We teach our people, and I'd like to hear. I mean, Corin was kind of saying you target some folks, which I don't think is bad necessarily, but we teach people hardcore not to target anyone because Pam says. You're one Blitz card away from changing someone's life, and you're one Blitz card away from changing your own life, too, in that capacity. But you know what we found time and time again is you just never know who's going to rock this out. The people we think are going to be rock stars aren't, and the people the people that we don't think are going to be rock stars are rock stars. I like where you're going, Corin, because you're trying to fill a need. You're saying, hey, I see somebody that could really benefit from our product.
Right,
and
right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and approach that. But you never know, man. You just never know because the person standing right next to her who is married is all fancied out could just rock and roll this thing because that's what they've been looking for, the next big thing for them. It's so hard to tell. I mean, I personally struggle with that. You just never know. Yeah. But as far as women are concerned, I like the coupon approach. Joel always makes me laugh because this is such a simple thing for he and I, but, it's one of those things where you walk up to someone and you just ask them what they'd like a coupon, and that's it. That didn't offend anyone,
yep.
Right?
Yep.
But so many people are worried about offending those ladies, and I'm not saying that's wrong to think that way, but sometimes we get mired down on our own thought process. So anyone have anything else to add about approaching the ladies when it comes to blitzing?
I'll jump in real quick, Quentin. I think an easy way for guys, I know Pam really pushes, the coupon and the, leading with the rap. But I think even a more subtle way to do it is to kind of go from the business perspective. Explain the business opportunity to them, and then of course that naturally leads into the rap. So you're not going up to them saying, "Hey, I think you need a rap," but you're going up and saying, "Hey, we had this awesome business opportunity. This is a little bit about what it does. This is our number one product," and then you can kind of lead right into the the applicator from there. And it's an easy way to kind of take the pressure off, and it's not all about the it's not all about the rap right off the bat. Sometimes
you're not attacking their appearance necessarily.
Right.
A lot of them will take it. Yeah. Somebody else was trying to speak up there. Did somebody else have something to say?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I do, this is Mike from Bend, Oregon, I always hand out, not always, but a lot of times I hand out too. I just say, I'm introducing a new product to the marketplace. Can you do me a favor? This may or may not be for you, but, here's a product, and you just show them this is what it is, this is what it does type thing. If you could share that, that would be great. And you take the pressure off of them thinking that they need it, especially if it's a skinny gal or something at a coffee shop or whatever. I don't know if that helps.
Rock on.
Yeah.
This is a business that both men and women can prosper in. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And it's just really kind of finding your niche and where you're comfortable talking and how you're comfortable talking. And, whether you're rocking it solo or you're rocking it with, a significant other or a female, I guess I'll say, there's so many different approaches to how this can work and how you can make it work. And so one of the questions that was just asked me was, of this group that's on this call that's answering questions, who's retired and who's not because of It Works. I'll answer that first. I'm Quentin. My wife, Lori Conway, is an ambassador. She retired me back in August of 2012, so I'm retired with It Works. Chris?
Also, August of 2012, we retired, shut down my chiropractic practice that was 14 years old.
Rock on, Ray.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, Ray, October 1st, 2012. Rhonda Hartman shut me down.
Drew, what about you, bro?
October 31st, my wife's a triple diamond, I'm a diamond. So I was working at Verizon, taking care of business accounts and doing really well, but, spend my time wisely and make a lot more money this way.
Anthony, how about you, bro?
Let's see. My wife and I are presidential diamonds. I didn't actually retire. I was in college. So I guess you could kind of say I retired from college. But
Wow, you never did work.
Gordon, you're still working, right? Gordon, you're still working, right?
Yeah.
And Kenny, what about you, bro?
I'm still working, family business. My wife is retired herself, so she's staying at home, and we recently are starting to homeschool our kids so we can travel easier. So.
Rock on, man. Rock on. And George,
Yeah.
you're still working, right?
I'm still working. Hopefully I can retire this year.
Right on. Anyone else that I missed there? All right, right on. Here, I'm going to move on to the next question. I just got texted me. It says, advise on encouraging DTs below you on getting their business going and not giving up. Boy, this is the million-dollar question right here, is How do you encourage the people below you to see it, feel it, breathe it, live it, and get it, and start working their business? Anyone want to take a stab at that first?
I will.
Do it.
Bootcamp is my answer for everything. For a lot of my team, from where we're from, we have to travel everywhere, so it's a little bit tougher, but we are starting to branch out across the states here, so it's easier, but Bootcamp is the answer for everybody, I would say.
Yeah, this is Ray. I'm going to go with what you posted a couple of days ago, Quinn. Art Williams' speech to just do it, right? I mean, that's the short answer. Long before Phil Knight and Nike, it was Art Williams, and it was just do it. Go out there and get her done. If you want it bad enough, you're going to get it done. And if you don't want it bad enough, then you're going to make excuses. And the short answer is, you're not going to make excuses and money at the same time. So, you got to pick one.
Anybody else?
Hey, this is Anthony here. This is something that my wife and I went through a lot of in the beginning, and it was, you sign people up, and for us it was huge because, I was a college kid, I just got out of the Army. She wasn't working, she was a stay-at-home mom. All we had was a little bit of money from the Army for me going to school and stuff like that to live off of. And, this company completely changed our lives, and we wanted that for everyone. Every single person we signed up, we wanted it for them. And we realized really, really quickly that just because you want it for them doesn't mean that they want it. And we realized that they have to want it before anything can happen. And so it took me a real long time to kind of come to this conclusion, and it might come off kind of harsh, but if I contact you, let's say 3 times, right, and you don't contact me back, or you don't, you're a new distributor, you don't contact me back, that's it, you're done. I'm never going to contact you again unless you contact me. I'm not going to waste my time trying to get someone to do this business when I could be out looking for people who were just like my wife and myself, who were eager and ready to do it. So in the beginning, we wasted a lot of time trying to get people who didn't want to work, and I feel like if we had just done what we do now, where we say, do your training and get back with us. If they don't do their training, that's it. You're done. We're moving on to somebody else who actually wants it. And when you want it, you let us know. And that was kind of a big revelation that we had, just a few months ago, really.
I'm gonna dive in and echo that. Well, my wife and I, ambassadors, to learn this the hard way, because it's amazing to me how you will bleed yourself dry working with people who don't want to work, and you do it all backwards. It's your nature to try to work so hard on the people who don't work, instead of pouring all of your energy into the ones who do work. And it took us a long time to figure that out. And so, we tell people, run with the runners, walk with the walkers, and wave at the people on the sideline, because you've got to keep doing what you do. And I love what you're saying, Anthony, because we do the exact same thing. We give them a test. When we sign people up, and the test can be different for different people. It could be something as simple as, hey, I want you to go read this document, and I want you to make a post on Facebook about what you got, what you took away from it. Or I want you to, watch this video, and I want you to shoot me a text and tell me what stood out to you. And if they don't do those tasks, if they don't pass that test, then well, I'm telling you, you're hard-pressed to get a lot of love out of us, because we're going to test you in the beginning. Until you're ready to start working, you're not going to see us much. And so that's a valuable lesson. You've got to be there, and you got to stay with those folks. You got to be an encourager, but don't let it drain you, and they can suck you dry, man. And so you got to run with the runners and walk with the walkers. Anyone else have anything to add to that? Because I think it's a really important topic. How do you get those people below you moving? Ugh.
I know their why.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, that's it, and that's that. I mean, it's as simple as that. Know why they joined the business.
You work with those that deserve it, not those that need it. If you have those that deserve it, some struggle a little bit, and you have to help them develop their why. And I think once their why is established, everything else falls into place.
Well, I guess maybe we ought to push the pause button here, because there's probably a handful of guys on this call who have no idea what a why is. And it occurred to me. So right. I'm going to just nominate Chris. Tell me what a why is.
Your why is the reason that you get up and do what you do every day, whether it's it works or anything else that you're doing in life. It's your motivation. It's the thing that you're shooting for, down the road. We always identify people's whys right off the get-go. I think that is probably the single biggest thing to do in the beginning, because you can keep bringing that back to them when things get tough, when things get slow, when they're struggling. We always go back to their why. This is what you told me 6 months ago. You told me that you wanted to stay home with your kids. You wanted to be able to retire your husband. You wanted to be able to pay off your house and get out of debt. And and that why is different for everybody. But you got to tap into that, and you got to revisit with them over and over and over, so they remember why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Chris, I'll echo that as well. That's 5 slides in a presentation for us. Why is a huge deal, and quite frankly, the biggest deal at the end of the day, right? People do things for a reason, and if they can't identify the reason that they're doing things, then they got a problem. So I think we all know a ton of people like that, right? But the why is the biggest thing. Identify it, codify it, publish it, show it to everybody, and off you go. And you can always tie back to that when things get tough.
Well, I don't want that nugget to be missed. I want to repeat that, because you both said the same thing. When you've got someone nailed down their why, when you understand what moves them and what motivates them, why they're doing what they're doing, what is their why. When you've got that nailed down, when those people come to you in those desperate times, when they're struggling, man, they're ready to give up, it's not something you're saying. You're only giving back to them what they fed you. Exactly. This is your why. This is why you told me you're doing this. What motivated you. And that is powerful, folks. That is the doctor's medicine right there. Anyone disagree with that?
No, sir.
No,
I agree.
Not at all.
I guess in essence, it's your goal. It's your goals with passion.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'm going to move on to a separate question here, and it kind of goes back to blitzing. And so I've had this question in various forms messaged to me tonight. And so besides blitzing and what I think they're meaning by, in this example, but besides handing out a card, and we kind of addressed this a little bit, but what are you doing to spread your word about it works? So some of y'all are working, some of you are not, and we're not talking about just walking out handing out cards. And some of you, like I think Corn, you can't spread the word where you're working. So what are you all doing? I'll start with you, Corn. What do you do to Blitz? What do you do to Blitz outside of handing a card out? What are you doing to spread the word?
anytime I go anywhere, no matter where I go, whether it's on lunch break, after I leave the shop and I'm headed to the house, Blitz cards are in my pocket. And one of the things that I learned when I was overseas, I learned how to make Paracord bracelets or 550 bracelets. Excuse me. I made a neon green and black Paracord bracelet, right? I wear it nonstop everywhere I go. Quentin, you addressed this back in one of your videos about having neon green shoelaces in your golf shoes. Same thing. People look at it. I see that they look at it, and that immediately I engage them. They see. Wow, this big ape-looking dude is wearing this neon green bracelet. What is that? As soon as I leave the shop, I have to change clothes. So immediately I'll put something funky on, something funky that says it works. I can't necessarily change my hair or my facial hair or anything like that, but I can throw an It Works shirt on that's, neon green. Again, people look, it's Big Ape walking through Walmart. Hey, what are you? That's my in.
So we've determined, Corn, that you do all of your blitzing at Walmart tonight, right?
Right. Word. At midnight.
George, what do you do to blitz, bro, instead of handing out a card? What do you do, man?
Just live it. I'm wearing the green, wearing It Works. Right when I started, my brother, he's a DT now, and he wasn't at first, and he's real skeptical, and my sister's been pretty successful with it, so he's kind of seen both of us do it, but he works down there with me, and he's leaving when I get there, and I'm walking in, and he's like, man, you're a walking billboard. I'm like, yeah. Everybody I see, I want them to know. We got a fitness center at work. I'd go up there, guys sit there, and they'd try and give me shit at first, why don't you just put a wrap on? Why you got to be in here? I'm like, well, do the wrap. I go, that's all good, but, it ain't going to build muscle. And I just love it. Green shoes, It Works shirts, green bracelet, everything.
Ray, what do you do to get outside the Blitz card? What do you do, bro?
Blitz card. Well, outside the Blitz card, for me, it's conversation about the product to everybody that I can strike up a conversation with. All right. So that's anybody from a contractor in your house, or the guy doing your pest control, or grocery store, the gal in front of you in line. Blitz cards are helpful when you got them in your back pocket, and when they're not, that's okay too. The gal who cuts my hair, actually I should say the gals, right, because I never go to the same place. I'm cheap. So
well, it takes a long time to perm that hair.
Right. Oh, I'm telling you what. And they do it wrong all the time, so you got to go somewhere else every time. But you always got a different person, and they always say at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, they always say, what? You going back to work after this? No, I'm not. I've been working since I got here, and I'm working when I'm leaving. And it's all that. It's any possible opening that you can have to discuss the product. Anybody you meet, anybody you can talk to, it always comes out the same way, which is, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. And if you got a Blitz card, that's great. If you don't, it's all about discussing the business opportunity, the success, you name it, the product success, and kind of moving on from there. And that's been actually pretty beneficial. I think we've had a handful of those folks that have gone, wow, really? And that's really what you're looking for, right? The wow, really?
I agree. Chris touched on this a little bit earlier, and this is something also that I teach pretty adamantly. I'm into shooting a shotgun. I'm not shooting a 22, so I'm going for the masses here. And the masses will speak this language. Guys hear business, women hear products. I'm going to say it again. Guys hear business, women hear products. That's not every time, but I'm telling you that's the masses. Anyone disagree with that?
Negative.
No.
And so you got to keep that in mind when you're out there spreading when you're talking and when you're dropping and planting those seeds, you got to keep in mind who your audience is. Kind of goes back to what Corin was saying with your target. When you're targeting people, know how you're targeting them, because different people are. One of the most important things you can do, guys, if you've never done it, is take that color test. Read up on the color, the personality colors, because once you understand, I thought it was so stupid at first. I'm not going to lie to you, but I dove into it, and the more I realized how red with a touch of blue I was, the more I could relate to people that were not only like myself but unlike myself, and I knew how I came across to them. Not that I didn't know that before, but when it's laid out in black and white, it sure hits you a little bit harder. So if you've not done that and you want a task to take away from this phone call, it's go read up, and maybe I'll find it and post it on the Caveman, but you got to do that. Read up on the personality colors, because it will change your perspective on how you're communicating with people. Anyone have anything to add to that?
Clinton was just mad about the color thing because he was purple.
I like to say I'm a really red purple, because I got some blue in me, but I'm pretty red. So, okay, anyone else? Anything to add to that before I move on to the next question? Okay, so we're pretty heavily weighted here on active guys, and I just realized that as you guys were talking, I assembled a team here that are very active guys, and I probably should have included someone who was less active. That was a mistake on my part. So what I'm going to ask you to do is step out of your box. And how do you encourage, and Ray and I talked a little bit about this last night, but how do you encourage, or what's the one piece of encouragement, maybe I'll narrow it down so we don't all talk a long time here, but what's the one piece of encouragement you would give to guys who are not active? They are in that supportive role. I ended up at the man cave because my wife added me. She made me get a Facebook page even, or they're just not active distributors. Maybe I saw a question was posted on the cave yesterday about, be honest, who's here because your wife filled a square to get to her promotion. So what advice would you give or nugget would you share with the guys that are in that situation, who aren't active but who are still there? I mean, they're still part of that. Drew, I'm going to start with you.
I would definitely, obviously, be supportive in however you can. Like if you have kids, stuff like that. When we first started, I wanted my wife to just run like crazy and do what she wanted anytime she wanted. I didn't want to give her a hard time for being up late or another night doing a rap party and I'm with the kids or whatever, because
you're good man, Drew.
I knew I'm still married, so that's good. But I knew that network marketing was a good opportunity. We've tried other things and failed, and it was more my idea, and I knew she'd be great with this, but she wasn't quite on board with those other opportunities. So when this came in, it was her decision. I was all for it, and I just said, do whatever you need to do. I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm going to take care of the dishes. I'm going to take care of the laundry. I'm going to, do all that kind of stuff. We were both still working full time, and so I would say just, be that supportive role. If you can do more, if you're comfortable talking to people and you give someone a Blitz card and just say, my wife's paying me to hand these out to people, and push it off on her, like, hey, if they start asking questions, you can say, I don't know anything. She's going to, let me do this or that if I hand these Blitz cards out. So, I would just say, yeah, definitely be supportive on the home front if you can, and then I think everything else comes around. Or, helping out with mailing stuff. I ran millions of trips to the post office, mailing wraps to people, and just being supportive that way. So.
What else? Who's up next? How about you? Who have we heard from a little bit? Chris, you're up.
I totally agree with that. I think that any support that you can do, kind of behind the scenes, is hugely important. I think the single biggest thing that you can do to hurt the situation is to not be supportive and not help out, be discouraging. I mean that's the quickest way to kind of kill this whole thing. I would encourage guys, because I believe my guess would be if somebody is not on board, that they just haven't kind of seen the light yet. that they don't really realize what the potential is, because once you've seen what can become of this, I don't know how you could not be on board. So I think maybe a lot of times that they just, maybe they haven't gotten to, corporate events, maybe they haven't gone to boot camps, maybe they, get to those things, and once your eyes are open, you're going to be all in, because you're going to see dollar signs from here to eternity. And I think that a lot of the times when guys are not on board, that they just haven't been, they haven't seen enough, they haven't been exposed to enough, they haven't been open enough to just really see what the potential is with this.
Kenny, what do you think?
Can you hear me now?
Hey, I can hear you, bro. What do you think?
Hey, you know what? My memory is just shot out. I forgot to push *6, so I was just sitting there like, hey! Because nobody hear me. I was sitting here tripping out like, man, what is going on? Why they got me blacked out? But, I forgot what I had to say. What were you guys talking about?
How do you encourage those guys who are not active to get them going, to get them off that hump and to start rolling?
Gotcha. I would say, some guys that I hang out with or actually don't hang out with, I go out with them, and just show them. And, they kind of trip out on, the comments I get. Like, somebody will say, oh, wow, you sure have on a lot of green. And then, of course, I'll say, yeah, it's company colors. Then they'll say, oh, what's the company? And that's an instant for me to put on a Bliss card. I'm pretty good at making, starting the conversation to where it, turns in my favor. Wearing your colors is like a good way to do it. I call it my uniform. Every day I come out in my green and black. If not, I got on gray and green or something or my Bliss card around my neck, The more you talk about it, the more you put it out there, the better you're going to be, Because you can talk to 500 people. If you get 80 out of that 500, you take it for what it is, If you get 100 or 200 out of that 500, you take that for what it is. But if you're not talking, your business is always going to be closed. So you gotta be just doing it all the time.
Yeah. All right, Ray. You want me to drop this bomb, or do you want to drop it? Because I know you and I agree on this. What do you say to those guys that are in the background? What's the number one thing what's the number one nugget you give to those guys?
Well, I'm gonna back up and answer your first question first, and then hit that. The biggest thing for the guys, and let me share this, because Rhonda, my wife, has been in network marketing for over 12 years, and my primary job for the first 10 years was to talk to guys, and quite frankly, go out and pick up kids and deal with a bunch of BS, from guys who we're not doing this network marketing thing. I don't want to hear about this pyramid scheme and, this whole thing. Is lifestyle. Lifestyle is a huge thing. If you can show a guy a decent lifestyle who is a hard-working blue-collar guy who's just got all the wrong ideas about MLM, multi-level marketing, boy, I'll tell you what, that goes 1 billion miles. I just can't even imagine that anybody wouldn't respond to, a February day on the beach in Florida that was paid for by, some MLM, kind of scenario, as opposed to them pulling that money out of their pocket themselves. And that's been the biggest thing, Quentin. Honestly, that has really been the biggest thing. It's been 13 years for me looking at that, playing that role, and lifestyle. I can't say it enough times.
I think the biggest problem in kind of what we talked about the other day is those guys and gosh, we see this so often, and I play this role a lot too. And I'm a red, so I don't have any issues with this. This may not be for everybody, but a lot of those guys, they just got to get over themselves, man. They want to talk to me. They want to know what's going on. Their wives want me to talk to them. And here's what it is: we're all stubborn dudes. We're so stubborn because we don't see it. What Chris was talking about, we've got egos that are mile high, and we think we know everything, and quite honestly, we don't know anything about this. And that's scary to us, and it's something we don't dedicate time to. It's like in one of my videos. It's like we care about three things: work, family, and our nothing time. And if It Works is going to interfere with any of those, well, I don't want to hear about it, right? And so you got to get over yourself. And so, man, that's a tough one. Those guys that are sitting in the background, you all don't see it. You don't see it, and I know you don't see it because I didn't see it. So I can say that as he. I know Kenny's been dying to jump in here. Kenny, you got something to add to this one?
Absolutely. I was completely unsupportive of my wife when she joined the business. For months, she was in the business, and she had a few parties and this and that, and just went nowhere. You know, I think her biggest problem was me dragging her down. You know, I was not happy with her being gone all the time. I wasn't, verbally abusing her or anything like that. It's just she just knew I wasn't happy. So when she was on the phone, on the computer all the time, that kind of made me mad. You know, when we were taking our vacation, she'd be up in the hotel front desk and that. I'd be like, oh, come on, we don't need to do that. I'd be embarrassed, And for months we just sat there. She sat there and did nothing, Finally, she did break away and started, to make a little bit more money. And she showed me one day. She said, "You better stop your bitching." And she showed me the paycheck, and I'm like, "All right, I'm on. Where do I sign up?" And little did I know was I was already signed up as a distributor. She was using me to fill her diamond chart. So 1 month later, she was diamond, and like 3 months later, she was double diamond. So that was my aha moment. Was showing me the check.
It's amazing how we listen to money, isn't it, fellas? I mean, that's why it's consistent, fellas. I mean, you talk business model to men, and you talk product to women. George, you got anything to throw in on this one? I'm going to take that as a no.
No.
I'm here.
Quentin, let me say this thing. This is the word for 13 years. This is the word, pride. Okay? Guys have pride, which is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. It's we all know that. Nothing wrong with it. However, when pride gets in the way of progress, you got a problem. And that has been what I've seen over the years. Pride getting in the way of progress is not a good thing. And that's what we need to kind of caution everybody away from. And of course we have no gals on this call, but that would be that's it. I mean, right? I mean, the husbands, the wives, or the husbands, the spouses, the better halves, the fiancés, the boyfriends. You got to put your pride in the shelf. You got to be done with that.
You got to check it. Check it at the door.
Check the pride. That's right. Because at the end of the day, you're going to end up retired.
That's exactly right. Hey, and we're living proof of that right here. A lot of these guys on this call are living proof of that retirement statement. I'm just going to throw a reminder out there to you guys. If you have specific questions, shoot me a private message on Facebook or text me at 816-582-9216. Feels like a telethon, doesn't it? Send your donations to... All right, so here's another question. It's a variation of that. So we've got the guys that are kind of stubborn. We've got the ego. I don't know. Maybe they're just not interested. Let's just give them... We'll give them good credit. Let's just say they're not in the way. They don't have the ego. But this just really isn't their gig, They're not that personality that's going to be out there talking. What are some things... behind the scenes, Drew started talking about this, that he did. What are some other things, maybe from a technical standpoint even, that guys can do to help their ladies in this business if they don't want to be that active partner, that active spouse, that active whatever? So, Anthony, what do you got for me?
Well, that's a really good question, and that's kind of where I started. When I finally got on board, for me, I wasn't all about, being upfront. I was like, I want to help, but basically tell me what to do. And my wife did. And what I ended up doing was I did a lot of caring. I did a lot of setting up at parties. I did a lot of tearing down at parties. I wrote emails. I did phone calls. I follow up with people. All of like the nitty-gritty things that my wife just really didn't want to do. She just told me to do those, and since I didn't know any better, I was like, okay, cool, I'm helping. And so that was kind of that's where I kind of started behind the scenes. And then, I'm kind of an attention whore, so I ended up in the front eventually. But, not everybody likes that. Not everybody likes to be, not everybody likes to have eyes on them or whatever, but I don't know, it's fun for me. So it's kind of where I transitioned. But before that, I was literally, a cave dweller. I sat at the computer and typed and made Facebook posts and texted people and, did all that stuff. So if you're not willing to put yourself out there in front of everyone yet because you're afraid that we're going to think you're weird or whatever, which we probably will, but I'm pretty sure everybody thinks I'm pretty weird. It doesn't bother me any. That's a great place to start and a great thing to do for your wife so she has more time to go out and get in contact with, other ladies and set up these parties and do whatever, and then, you taxi them over there in your truck or whatever like I used to, and you carry the bags inside and it has its benefits. So I ate a lot of vegetable trays and cookies and stuff at these parties. So, there's benefits to being in the background.
Gordon, what do you think? What are some things that guys can do, if they don't necessarily want to be that lead horse? What can they do to still be supportive, to still play that supportive role?
I'll tell you what, man. I can probably say without a doubt, I'm probably. We'll shift gears. Never mind. Take care of the housework. As simple as that, man. Wash the clothes, do the dishes, take care of the kids. The simple things. Make the bed, man. Stuff that women, just pine over that they need to have done to make them feel complete for the day. Handle it. Let them go rap. Let them go talk to people. Let them be the lead horse. Sit back, pull off a sip of whiskey, and be cool with sitting back in the shadows.
Yes, agreed. I agree 100%. That's how, dude. I agree with that 100%. It started out the same way. I wasn't unsupportive at all, but I was not active, and thereby I would call myself not very supportive. But what I did do was I saw my wife. She had such a passion for this, man. I've never seen my wife so excited, so passionate about anything in a work-related environment like this. She saw it, man. She got it. I give her so much credit because that burning was in her belly way earlier than me. And she saw it. And, and I tried, kind of like Clint was saying, man, I just tried to stay out of the way. And we've got 4 kiddos at home. So I took up the task of doing a lot of stuff around the house. I did a lot of stuff around the house anyway, but I took up more. I made it my goal to make sure that she wasn't doing some of the things that she did. And it doesn't have to be huge dramatic things, but it can just be those things that take up so much of her time to free her up so she could do the things that she needed to do. But I think there's a functionality to this that we're missing too. And maybe, Chris, I don't know if this is your personality or not, but maybe you can comment on, there's a whole technical aspect of this business, from numbers, crunching the numbers, handling the taxes, handling the business side. And I worked in banking for years, and I've always noticed that it's almost always there's one numbers person in a group, and more times than not, and it's not always that way, but more times than not, it's the dude. Anybody have any insight? And I'll start with you, Chris, if you have anything else to add to that. But what about the technical side of this? That's a good way guys can support and not be in the way.
Absolutely. I think that anything that you can do kind of behind the scenes, there's and everybody's in different places, in their business. I think early on for us, something that, because I was in my practice full time at that time, I didn't have a lot of time during the day, to be able to do a lot of the day-to-day things. But what I could do is I could get on in between patients. I could get on Facebook. I could introduce myself to, new teammates. I could answer questions, product questions or whatever it was. So there's a lot of that little technical things that you can do, especially in the beginning. And then as you start to grow, I mean, there's tab reports, and there's so many different kind of tracking that we can do, and different reports to see who's working and who's not working, and you can reach out, and if you're uncomfortable with talking to people face to face, you can text them, you can email them, you can send them messages on Facebook. So there's a lot of ways that you can, if you're not comfortable with being out there, that you can kind of hide behind, but still really be helpful with the business.
I agree 100%. Ray, you're kind of a technical guy. I think you came from corporate America. Anything to add to that?
Well, no, yeah, actually, he nailed it right there. It's, I'll tell you right now, outside of blitzing and meeting people and talking to people when I'm out, my primary function is exactly that. Pulling reports, digging through, dumping them into Excel, that's a huge deal outside of...
It's big. I mean, it should not be underestimated, because that's scary to a lot of people, not just women, but that, for my wife, that was huge. She doesn't know how to do any of that stuff, and so I do it all, and that was a huge relief for her. I agree. Anthony, you got something else to throw in on that?
Yeah, listening to all these things, it kind of reminded me of, back when Samantha first started doing this, and one of the biggest things I did before I did anything else, before I was carrying stuff or wearing the T-shirts or whatever, I was always on her case, because I didn't understand, the nature of the beast. And she was always on Facebook, and she was always on her phone and doing this and that. And then where I messed up is I would give her, I'd give her a hard time about that. And so if you're not going to do anything else, if you're not going to if you don't feel like you know enough to coach her team, you don't have enough product knowledge or whatever, or you don't, you're still working, like Chris said, he was still working when Nikki was doing all this. If there's anything else you can't do, just be quiet. Just let her do her thing, because I gave my wife so much trouble about this in the beginning. You're always on Facebook, you're always on your phone. I felt like, I was being ignored, and I didn't want to come out and say that to her, but that's what I felt like. So I'd give her grief about it, and so I think if you're going to do nothing else, just keep your mouth shut and let her do her thing, and eventually, you'll see kind of where we're all coming from, and it'll totally be worth it. Just let her do her thing, don't get in her way, and just be quiet. If nothing else.
Yeah, I love so much what you just. I love it, and the reason why I love it is, we get up on stage, and if all of you are going to conference, those who are going to conference, you're going to hear some awesome stories, and some stories, I'm familiar with a lot of them, and the great thing about those stories is they're all excited, and they're telling you their passion, they're telling you why this thing is so great, and all the glorious things that have happened as a result of It Works, and that is so dead true. But what I think we miss is the very real variable that, my wife worked her butt off. I've never seen her so dedicated to anything, and it caused some hellacious knockdown, drag-out fights, because, like you, Anthony, I felt the same. I used the word. I feel neglected. Like everything is more important than me and the kids in this house, because you're working so hard, and that's hard to hear, and that's hard to say. But we had to get real with ourselves and find a balance between, because that passion that she had, because she saw it, man. She saw the vision, and I'm so glad that she did. But I'm so glad that we have an open relationship where we can have that kind of drag-out fight and still be real with each other. But what you're saying is dead on, bro. I mean, once they see it, once they get that passion, stay out of their way. Stay out of the way until you see it too, and then you'll start rocking this together. I think that's vitally important. Anyone else have anything to add to that? Because I think it's crucial.
I was going to say, Quinn, absolutely. And when you feel neglected and everything, the best way to start feeling like you're not being neglected anymore, get involved. Because as soon as I got involved, man, our relationship was like complete 180. Everything was perfect, rainbows in the sky. And I got on board with this, and it was like now, we spend all the time in the world together, and we're both doing something we love, and she kind of made me love it. So, if you're feeling neglected, get involved.
That's really good. It's really good. Anyone have anything else to add to this before I move on to the next question? good. All right, this question is more for the single dudes, because there's a lot of guys out here that I think that will surprise you that are working this business for themselves, without their partner, without their wife or their girlfriend or their sister or whoever. They're working this thing solo. And so I'm going to ask two questions, and I'm going to start with you, George. There was a question, hey, what do you do as a guy for a party? Do you rock your own party? Do you have parties? How does that work? And then just generally, what's your strategy for being out there in the world as a single dude with It Works? Did I lose you, George? I guess we won't start with George.
George went to bed.
He's asleep. All right, well, none of us are, I think everyone else is partnered up here. Is that correct? Is anyone else single in that?
Correct.
All right. Well, I'm going to address that question. We've got several guys. George is on our team. We've got several guys who are rocking this solo. And this question was actually addressed on the call a few weeks ago with Nathan and Kyler and Joel and Sasek. You know, Kyler rocks this thing solo. And you got to hedge your bet there, I guess, from some people's perspective, because he's a Pentecost, and I think some people get hung up on not listening to him fully and what he's bringing to the table. But, man, what he was saying was powerful. He's rocking this solo, and he had some awesome strategies for being a single guy working this business by himself. And I think we've got another guy on our team who's a very different personality than myself, but one of his claim to fame, one of the things he says often is, you know, we're in the Midwest here, and when I train people, I have a different philosophy and strategy than others might. You know, I'm a good old boy. I know where I'm at. I know what I'm like, and I know who the people I'm working with are like. We're pretty conservative here in the Midwest, and in the most part, chicks don't want me rapping them. I don't want to be rapping them, and their dude don't want me rapping them. So I encourage a lot of people in our world to partner up with a female in their life to work this business with them, so they're not working it solo. That's generally my encouragement. That's not the only way to do this. We've got a guy just in St. Louis who rocks this solo, and one of the things he says all the time is, look, you know, rapping a woman isn't a big deal. It's only as big a deal as you make it. And I think that's a really powerful statement there. If you don't make it a big deal, if you don't act like it's a big deal, then you're going to be fine, you know, and more times than not, because this is just normal. This is what we do in a normal setting. As far as having parties by yourself, all the time guys are doing that. We've got people on our team, and I'll let some other guys speak here, but we've got people who are doing parties all the time by themselves. And I think Kyler's strategy was really, really good on as far as rapping people you don't know. You know, you have all these ladies showing up at a party, and what he would do is the first one to show up at that party, he'd say, hey, congratulations, you got a free rap tonight. You're going to be my rapper. And he would use that lady, the first one that showed up at the party, to be the lady who actually did the rapping for him. I thought that was genius. I don't know if you all heard that on the call. Anyone else have any strategies, since George bailed on me, on being a single dude in this? I mean, are they doing parties on your teams? How are they managing it as a solo guy?
I've done it, even though I'm teamed up with my wife. Obviously, typically what I'll do is take a brand new distributor with me, and she'll do that. She'll pull off the rapping, even though I'm doing the demos and I'm talking to the distributors and the LCs. I'll pull in a distributor that hasn't done a rap party yet. She comes in, she actually puts hands on the females. I'm completely 100% hands off, keeps all the legalities out of the way. Nobody gets, pissed off or anything like that. So that's another thing that you can do. If you don't have a distributor under you, then I agree 100%, Quentin, what Kyler said on that call a month or so ago. Awesome. Genius.
Anybody else have, maybe that have the big teams out there? Anyone else have some strategies that they see their solo guys rocking?
Yeah, I actually got one guy, talking about solo guys, one guy. And unfortunately, I'm going to chalk this up to his personality. He has no problem talking to anybody and getting anybody to do anything. However, the way he manages that is on the benefits. right? Okay, so he sells the benefits. He talks nothing but about the benefits of the wrap, and his again, this is kind of a caveat. His personality is such that people will listen to him without getting offended, which I think is kind of the ongoing issue, is about how do I not offend people. But he has the ability to not offend, and he talks nothing but about the benefits. All right, so it's all benefits all the time, the benefits of the grains, the benefits of the vitals, the benefits of the wrap, and he has no problem getting people to put wraps on, or put wraps on people, I should say.
Right. What about you, Drew? You guys got guys on your team rocking it?
Not quite yet. Not solo guys, no. Just the supportive spouse, really.
What about you, Chris? You guys have any?
Yeah, I got something for you, Quentin. One of the things that you can do, and I have actually pulled this off, believe it or not. If you have a woman in there that's apprehensive, pull them all into the living room, and then have them sit down onto the couch. Tell every one of them, stand up, okay? When they stand up, tell them to sit back down, right? When they sit back down, that pretty much takes all of their excuses away from, me putting a wrap on them, okay? You just did exactly what I told you to do. You stood up, you sat down, okay? This is not a romantic encounter. This is nothing more than platonic, okay? I'm going to put a wrap on you. Exactly. I'm going to put a wrap on you. You're going to see amazing results in the next 45 minutes, and you're going to love me for it. Simple as that.
Chris, you got solo guys
platonically.
Word. Yeah, we got a few guys. A couple of them, like the other guy said, is their personalities. They have no problem. They can just go out there and it's their comfort level. And as long as you're comfortable with it and you don't have an issue, the other person's not going to have an issue either. Now, the couple of guys that we do have that did feel a little bit more intimidated by that, they just went out and they made it their goal that their first distributor they were going to sign up was going to be a female that could help them wrap. And so that was, and for them it was almost like it was a challenge. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to go right up to somebody and say, hey, look, I just started this business. I need a business partner because I don't feel comfortable wrapping people, and you're going to be the person who's going to do it. And they've been very successful that way.
Have you ever had any guys that are like doing all guy party? Anyone ever done that?
I've done a one-on-one.
Just one-on-one, but have you ever had a group of guys over? We probably wouldn't call it a party, but, have you ever had a group of guys? I don't think anyone on our team has that I'm aware of.
No, I don't think we else either.
Okay.
No.
Who haven't we heard from in a while? Kenny, you're kind of quiet. I'm going to throw this question out to you. I'll start with you. Drew's been kind of quiet, too. One of the questions was about appearance, or not really. It was kind of a question, but, how do you encourage people to present themselves in a way, and this kind of goes back to living a Blitz, I guess, in some capacities, but to present themselves in a way that they sell themselves, meaning that you look presentable. You're not looking like a hobo out there running around. What kind of encouragement or words of advice would you give to the fellows in that capacity?
I like to say be comfortable, professional. Try not to look too sloppy, clothes too big for you or too tight. Get your green on. I don't know. I'm at a loss for that one. That's both the best I got.
Yeah. What about you, Drew? What would you say?
Well, it kind of goes back to growing up playing sports. My saying, I always told my parents, you always want the best of the best equipment. When I was playing sports, I always said, look good, play good. So if you're looking good, you're clean, you're fresh, you got, decent clothes on and a decent appearance, you look welcoming to other people, they're not going to be like, oh, look at that weirdo over there and go the other direction. They're going to be willing to speak with you and see that you're a nice person and everything like that. So that's what I try to do is look presentable. Yeah,
nobody has to look overly fancy, but unfortunately your appearance is the first thing that will catch an eye. And so people will make a lot of judgments on you, and I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying they're going to make a lot of judgments right off the bat on what you're bringing to the table by your appearance. And so you don't want to look, you want to look becoming, not off-putting. And so you got to keep that in mind, appeal to the masses in a sense.
Hey, Quentin, let me load up on this one here. I retired October 1st, 2012, and I took the month off. Boy, I'm telling you what, I had my Seahawk pajama pants on every day, and any variety of T-shirts, and it was a fantastic thing. And then Rhonda said to me, "Hey, you're going to the grocery store. You can't wear your pajama pants, right?" And I said, "Well, of course I can." And she said, "No, you can't. As a matter of fact, you're going to put some pants on. You're going to put a shirt on. You're going to take a shower. You're going to take the ball cap off, and you're going to put some Blitz cards in your back pocket." All right. Yep. So that's the deal right there. You need to, every time you go out, regardless of whether you're doing a party, right, or if you're just going to the grocery store to get your hair cut, you need to, be dressed reasonably, whatever reasonably is to you in your area, and represent, right? I mean, that's what it's about. You got to represent so that when you have that conversation with that gal who's getting her hair or the gal who's checking you out at the grocery store, that you're, you look respectable in some way, without, looking like me in my Seahawk pajama pants. So going to the grocery store,
don't look like
really cool, by the way. By the way, that was really cool for a month.
All right, I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to start out with Chris, because I know you've got a team that's spread out a little bit. The question was posed to me: how do you train and stay in touch with and encourage those distributors that you sign that are outside of your local area, especially if they're personally enrolled? Those, because you've got obviously you have a vested interest in everyone, but you really have a vested interest in those CAVs and those personally enrolled DTs. So how do you stay in touch with people that are not local?
This is probably a great question for us because we have, I would say, probably 95% of our team is out of state. And so, yeah, I mean, the vast majority of our team we have to keep in contact with, primarily phone, emails, text. Facebook has been absolutely huge for us. As far as a training platform, I don't know how many groups that we are up to as far as our different teams, but I mean we have 25 or 30 different Facebook groups, and we do the vast majority of our training through there. And I joke all the time that if Zuckerberg ever figures it out, he's going to charge us an arm and a leg because right. I mean it is, we couldn't live without it at this stage of the game. I mean it's been such a part of how we do everything that we do. But we spend a lot of time on the phone. We spend a lot of time through emails, and it really is not. It's not that difficult to do. You just have to make the effort to do it. We always go back and forth and try to compare. Okay, our local people, are they more successful than our people that are afar? And it's not. I mean, a lot of it has to do with just the individual person. You have to find the way with each person on how to best communicate with them. Some people like to do the text and the email. They don't like to talk on the phone. Some people exclusively like to talk on the phone. They don't want to be, wasting time with text or whatever, Facebook time. So you just kind of have to find what works for you. But there's a lot of different ways that you can do the trainings. We have a lot of automated emails and things that we send out, especially in the early stages, like that first 30 to 60 days with new DTs, so that they're getting a lot of information. But then we do have to follow up with them with phone calls and things to make sure that they're not only getting it, but that they're reading it and that they're following up on those action steps.
Yeah, right on, bro. I mean, we owe a debt of we're indebted internally to Facebook ourselves too, because we've got a lot of people who are not local to our immediate area. And I say Facebook, but really all social media. I mean, we rock social media out, and it has been huge for us. There's a lot of people that will, complain and whine and say that, hey, I'm not getting anything off Facebook. I'm not using it. It's not been a valuable tool for me. I've heard a lot of people say that, and I don't get it. I mean, we're still using it. We're still getting leads. We're sticking with it. We still get people that, a year and a half into this that have been watching us from day one. Man, those people are watching you, and they're watching you to make sure that you are legit. they're testing you out, and one of those tests is to see if you're sticking with what you're doing. And Facebook is one of the ways that you can do that. Anyone else have any comments? Because this is going to go to my second question concerning Facebook and whatnot. But anyone have anything else to add to how you stay in contact and touch and training with the people who are not local to your immediate area?
Use your eSuite.
What do you mean by that?
There's a massive amount of training, documentation, so on and so forth for the technical side, the green guys, the green personalities that deal with facts and science on your eSuite.
Details.
Right. YouTube, Quentin, you and your woman have you posted not too long ago in the cave. Y'all got 15 or 20 videos out there. I mean, it's all just a matter of a question away from, hey, where do I find this? Bang, right there. YouTube, eSuite, get it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Corn. We use YouTube a lot to train our people. The eSuite has a ton of great training, but we get enough questions on a topic, we just sit down and make a video about it. And you all are welcome. You all are all welcome to share and bogart everything that we make. And we put it out there on YouTube for you all to have. I'll post them. I think I posted the videos on the cave, but
you did.
You're all welcome to those. There's nothing magic about any of them. We have a pretty hard strategy about. There's a lot of folks out there doing some really awesome and nice videos, and I think they look great, and I think they are definitely doing what they want. Our approach has always been we want to keep things simple. We want to make things that relate to people in a way that they think, oh, I can do that. And so I think training via video is huge, and I want them to think that, I can just hop in front of my webcam and create a video to address a need, and that's what we do, and that's why our videos are kind of cheesy in that regard. But
they're not cheesy at all, man. They're straightforward. They're right to the point. Hey, do this, handle this. I am at this level, so obviously, if you're doing it, it works.
Well, I think that videos are a really big way to keep in contact and train those folks. Let's talk about, I'm going to try to kill this call. Let's see, what time is it? In probably like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
It'll be an hour and a half. Okay, cool. So just for people who are hanging on thinking it's getting late, we'll go about 10 or 15 more minutes and we'll put it into this. My next question is going to be about going back to marketing. We talked about this a little bit, but let's talk about some very definitive strategies that you can use for social media. We talked about YouTube there, but, I think you could do a whole training just on how to use social media to your benefit, because a lot of people, they'll say, well, I announced that I'm a member of my team, and I keep posting the same picture over and over, and nobody's saying anything to me. Well, there's a reason for that. But what anyone have some very specific strategies for what they're doing on social media that they want to share with the group?
Yeah, I will. And it's not my strategy. It's Rhonda's. And it's been very effective for her, which don't puke on everybody. Okay? That is the biggest message I can possibly give. We're all on Facebook. We're all looking at that stuff, and there's some people out there that are just throwing up on everybody all the time, all day long. And the message you take away is, boy, I don't want to hear anything about any of that, right? So the short answer is once in the morning, once in the afternoon, because people are on in the morning, people are on in the afternoon, but they're not usually on both unless they're sitting at home, like some of us. And that's it. Get the message out a little bit, leak it out every day if we're talking about Facebook. And don't throw up on people. That's the biggest thing. Stop with the 75. Every 8 minutes you're putting a belly picture before and after up, and people don't want to see that stuff, except for when they do, which is not all that often. All right, that's me.
Anyone else? I've got a lot of definitive ones. Go.
Yeah, I would say when you do post, I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be a before and after picture, but I think it's huge to attach some type of photo to what you're writing, because that just catches people's eye to read your post more. So
100%.
something I always do like a Google search for photos, and I'll type in like a few words that I'm making a post about to find a catchy photo. So the reason why, like Pinterest is so huge, it's all based on pictures. So that's kind of what I go with, and we've had a lot of success with that.
Yeah, but Drew, you're not doing it every 10 minutes, are you?
No, correct. No.
No, I think but his point is dead on, and I don't want that to be missed. And if you want to test this, go scroll through Facebook and tell me what posts you stop on. They're going to be the ones with the pictures. So I mean, yep. I said this when we were in Hawaii on that call, man. That's why you notice what Facebook has done as a result of the success of Pinterest is they changed your profile to a timeline, which is all photo driven, because that's the way our minds are working. That's the populace of the world out there stopping on those pictures. So Drew's dead on. And I think one of the things we teach people a lot is to use lifestyle pictures. People are stalking you on Facebook, man. They're watching you more than you think. And like Ray said, they get tired of these bellies, the before and afters. And so you start posting lifestyle pictures, what you're doing. Kenny's traveling all over the world, posting pictures about it, and people are going to start asking. Am I right, Kenny?
Absolutely. That's my biggest thing. I have also incorporated Instagram, because just like you said, nobody wants to read anything anymore. Everybody just wants to look at a picture. It's simple as that. It's just is use what everybody else is using right now. I mean, posting lifestyle pictures, just like you said. Everywhere we go, we post pictures. Our kids having fun. That's been our main focus right now. Is instead of our kids learning about the world in a book, we're bringing the world to them, and that's our why now. I mean, simple as that.
Nice.
What else? Anyone out there got some? Anthony, what are you all doing specifically? Some strategies that you guys are using on social media?
Well, really, yeah, I'm getting tired, guys. My wife really does all the social media stuff. She is like the Facebook pro. Like, I'm terrible at Facebook. Like, it takes me like a good 10 minutes to figure out just how to like upload a picture on it. I'm really not like that awesome at Facebook. But I don't even really know what she does. Whatever she does, it works. And I just kind of make jokes on Facebook. So that's really all my Facebook experience.
All right, so we asked the wrong person. Chris, you got any specific strategy?
I'll see if I can do a little better. I think something that's real important that we've learned along the way too is it can't be all business all the time. You got to interject just your, some of your family stuff, and I mean it doesn't have to be every time that you, go use the restroom, but I mean just some of the family outings that you do. I really agree with the lifestyle pictures. Part of the thing, 3.5 years ago, prior to us getting in the business, we were watching, Brandon and Denise, and Brandon is Nikki's cousin, and we were seeing them travel to Florida, we were seeing them travel to Australia, and it piqued our interest. We weren't ready at that moment to jump on board, but it plants those seeds. We were at a meeting last night here in Grand Rapids, and Cammie was telling us that she had one of her best friends from high school just come on board after all these years. But the thing that did it was the photo of them getting out of the limousine that they took to like the Nutcracker or something right before the holidays, and that was the picture that caused her to pick up the phone and call her and said, "All right, I need to know now." And she's most likely been watching her for years, but that was something that just boom, that was it. It was her getting out of the limo. That was the thing that made her pick up the phone and call. So you never know. You just never know, and you just got to kind of mix it up a little bit.
I agree. Those lifestyle posts are the money. I mean, that's it. Anyone else here have anything else to add on social media?
The only thing I would throw in there, Quentin, is consistency. I agree with not posting 87,000 times a day, but at least a couple of times a day. Consistency, because that if you're hot for a day or so, and then you're cold for a month, or even a week, even several days in a row, the people that are stalking you, they see that, it's a flavor of the day, so maybe they're not so into it. Show them that you're all in. Show them that it's the the neatest thing since sliced bread, and it is real. It is changing your life. It is changing other people's lives, and it will change their life.
That's the most powerful thing you can do is those lifestyle photos. There's no doubt about it. And like Ray said, I mean, people just get tired of seeing them before and after. You can saturate that, and people want to know what's going on in your life. They want to believe. Actually, they want to not believe the success. They want to disbelieve you. You know, they want to know that
you're right.
Those things. Yep. And then when they see you traveling, when they see you making those big lifestyle changes, they're like, oh, well, I guess there is something to it. You know, one of the things when we were in Hawaii, we were out in Hawaii for 2 weeks. And blowing stuff up. We signed 3 people, I think, we were in Hawaii because they were questioning, oh, hey, this is legit. That's what those folks are really doing now. And so that was shortly after I quit my job. And those lifestyle posts are huge. There's a question I've got that's come up 3 different times in 3 different ways, and I'm just going to knock it out real quick and we'll call into this phone call. But the question is about money, taxes. How do you guys handle taxes? What do you do? How does It-Works pay you? Well, I'm going to tell you, It-Works issues you a 1099. You are an independent distributor, so you're pretty much self-employed. That's how our contract worker, 1099 is what you're going to get. And what I tell people is I've been in business all my life. I've done my own taxes all my life. I'm a numbers guy, and I got in over my head. My wife was making too much money and that I knew what to do with, and at that point, you spend the money and you hire an accountant and you be done with it. Because you hire professionals to take care of you professionally, and that's what you need to do. Now, that doesn't mean that you do that right out of the get-go, but that's eventually where you're going to get to. Does anyone have anything to add or subtract from that statement?
Dude, Quentin, that couldn't be more accurate. That is, I mean, hitting it, right on the head there. We had to do the exact same thing. We always did the H&R Block tax return thing. And when I was in the military, that was really easy because I didn't make, anything. It took 5 seconds. We were in and out and done. We got into this, and, I mean, it's just a whole different animal. So, hiring a CPA for us was definitely the way to go.
Yeah, you got to talk strategies. When you start rolling some success with this, it becomes less about completing a return and more about completing a strategy. And so you need to hire a professional to help you with that.
You got to stick some money aside.
That is 100% correct. Yeah, it's all about getting out of debt. Well, I'm going to blow this up at the last minute here. I've got a celebrity. It cost me a lot of money. I had to get through a lot of red tape to sign this guy. My people were talking to his people, and I brought him in here at the end to blow this up. Close this call out for me, Joel.
Woo! All right. Man, if people don't have enough from this call, get the recording and listen to it again and hand it to every guy that you know. But the most important thing right now is from now until conference, promote the heck out of it. Get as many of your people there as you possibly can, because that is the most important thing that's going to happen this year. It is what's going to set up your business for the rest of the year. For the people that miss out on it, they're going to wonder why their businesses are growing so slow, is because the people that come out of conference come out on fire. So if I can just give anybody a word of advice here at the end before we get off this call, is get to conference, and then we can all hang out. But do it.
Hey, I'm gonna add on top of you there. I'm gonna throw a challenge out to you guys. The ones who are successful in this business, which are most of the people in this little circle. Mark said something about pick someone, sponsor them, and get them there. I put my money where his mouth was in that capacity. We sponsored a DT that we signed last month. I think she's got it. We're going to send her. We're paying for her way to go to conference. And I challenge all of you who are making enough money that's comfortable to do the exact same thing. Find someone who needs it. Find someone who deserves it. Spend the money. Sponsor them so they can go to conference. I'm challenged.
We're doing the same thing. Yep, doing the same thing.
All right, guys, it's been a great call. Thank you for being on this. I know it was kind of our first run, so we learned some stuff here. We'll probably do some more of these. We might do them differently, but this worked out, I think, all right. And I really, really appreciate you guys coming in and sticking with us. It went a little longer than I anticipated, but it was good stuff. So thanks, guys.
Awesome. Good job, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,